This is a new feature we're going. Hello everybody. I think I've got this the wrong way around. All you can see is me. I'm sure it's nice to promote the logo and everyone else, but I'm sure you don't want to see what is my left hit in the middle of your screen. So bear with me, folks. I just can't reach the button and eat. That's a bit better. That's what we all want to see. Hello everybody. Welcome to tonight's lockdown Pitlane walk, which tonight being the 12th of June, Friday the 12th of June, we're going for Friday tonight because this was, as you know from the last time, this was to allow me with the attempt to try some new technology that we were going to try on. So on that note, we have changed things. We're doing things slightly differently this week. It's still what is hopefully going to be a great interview. Well, from my point of view, I know it's going to be fabulous, this and the Alan. But this is all possible due to a change in technology that we've done. And before we start, I must give a huge thanks out to Ian Lancashire, Davy Gibson, or Davy G as he's become affectionately known in this house, Stephen Morrissey, my wife Joanne. All those four people have spent all week on and off answering questions with me. Don't know Neil as well from the 500 Club about Zoom. How does Zoom work? How do you get it to work? I am a complete technophobe for everybody that knows me. I'm useless with technology. And if it wasn't for those people, this just would not have happened. I have done numerous random Zoom meetings and messages with Joanne, with Ian, with Davy Gibson over the week. So huge thanks to them. Massive thanks also to Alan Jardine, who downloaded the Zoom app in a complete flash and agreed to be the dummy with the new Zoom setup. So Alan, thank you for that. What we're doing to do things slightly differently, we're continuing the live feed as you can see. We're also recording it, not sure if you can see it or not. We're recording it through Zoom, which means that when we have finished the live feed, Stephen Morrissey, the technical wizard, I can't work it, Stephen, the technical wizard, will put the Zoom footage up onto YouTube and a link to that onto the Sprint page. So you can watch it live. And you can watch the pure high quality HD quality video via the YouTube channel and via Facebook later. So that's some of the changes we've done. As you can see, again, I'm promoting the Sprint clothing. He's got a bit of an up close zoom into the two logos on my chest. I'm going to have to take the hat off and cooking. Sprint clothing is still available through Blackwater Graphics. For those of you that are looking at a late Father's Day present, Blackwater Graphics, fired out a hat, fired out a t-shirt. I maybe have said too much there. So let's promote the clothing. It's been a great week for motorsport on TV this week. Not sure if you guys saw it or not. There's a fabulous program on Monday night about Mondello Race Circuit. Anybody that's got RTE, the equivalent of the RTE iPlayer, go back and watch it. Fabulous program, really, really enjoyable. And then, of course, Sunday night's entertainment. Because we weren't doing the live interviews, BBC played Crash and Burn. If it hadn't have been for if we had been doing the interviews, Crash and Burn mightn't have been on. It was the story of Tommy Byrne. Fabulous, great program, really worth watching it. TV-wise, it's been a great week. I was just mentioning to Alan there, when we were setting up, I got a rather sad email through, a very unfortunate email, to say that the sprint or the hill climb championship, has had to be abandoned for the year due to COVID. I'm really, really disappointed to hear this because I know as a coordinator the work that Alan puts into that to get that championship up and running. And COVID-19 has just been disastrous this year. I just feel so sorry for Alan as a coordinator and all the competitors who have prepared cars and all the clubs who have gone to all the work and effort they've gone to for it. It's really, really disappointing. I'm gutted for you, boys and girls. I'm really, really gutted for you. Not what I wanted to hear, but unfortunately, it's just the joys of COVID. Like, if it hadn't been for COVID tonight, I probably would have been doing a weather report on how good the weather was at Kirkliston for tomorrow's Summer Classic Sprint, the TSCC Reserve Round. COVID has spoiled it. But what can we do, you know? It is what it is. But moving forwards, we're here tonight to have a lockdown Pitlane walk with Alan Jardine. And I'm going to tell you a wee story about Alan, about how I first really got to know Alan. Alan's pointing here, he knows what's coming. Now this, I reckon Alan was what, 20 or 21 years ago?
Easy.
I used to work in the Maxwell garage in Portabogie as a student when I was 16, so it's 22 years ago. And part of the Maxwell chain, they had a Maxwell rep or a Maxwell manager who would have come down, filled his car with diesel, bought a paper and a cup of coffee, and paid with his charge card. And he was known as your Maxwell mystery shopper. And you had to tick all the boxes and do everything by the Maxwell criteria, and the man would score you, or lady would score you. And if you passed, it was a real credit to the shop. And I was standing filling, I'll never forget it, standing filling the sweetie shop, or the sweetie aisle at the front door. And I saw this man pull up in a red Honda Accord, go out and fill diesel. That's Alan Jardine. Alan that would sprint and hill, and my dad knew Alan, and I knew Alan to speak to from the event. So then he come, and I thought nothing of it, and he bought his milk and he cup of coffee, and he bought his paper, and he paid for it. And the manager took him away and round the back, and I thought nothing more of it. I found out about an hour later that Alan was a mystery shopper. So from then on in, every time Alan would come into the shop, I would stand and announce, "Here's Mr. Maxwell, mystery shopper." And we would all score really well until Alan twigged it and told me not to spoil the surprise. So my wee bit of speed over, I'm going to let Mr. Maxwell introduce himself. Alan, over to you.
Thanks very much. You done very well there, David. Yeah, that's going back a few years ago. Yes, well, I suppose the introduction, probably knowing a lot of people would know me around the sprints and the hills and that. Alan Jardine's the name, and I've been around for quite a while in the rally, and more than I was in the sprints and hills. But we always kept our hand in there and used them for get out the early part of the year, a wee bit of testing and things like that. But yes, I've been around maybe longer. I haven't been around as long as Tom Luther or Kenny Colbert, but you know, very close to
it. Okay. Alan, start with an easy one. What car do you drive?
I have an Escort Mark 1, and I'm now running a BDG, a Wilcox BDG in it. I got that car back in 2003. It was a 1600 bubble arch Mexico that it was owned by Benny O'Halloran of Todd's Leap fame. And Benny had the car, and I knew he had the car, and I sort of was always at him about selling it. And he finally gave in, and we bought the car, and then I had it all stripped. And Mark Smith built it into a post-historic rally car for me, and we're running that time a Pinto engine. And then we moved on, we run it for a few years with a Warrior engine, with a 2-litre Warrior engine in the historic class, and had some great results with that. And then I went back to Pinto again for a few cracks at the Irish Tarmac Championship. And then I decided then I always wanted to be DA, and that was what, you know. And I finished up then getting the Wilcox BDA a couple of years ago and using it in hill climbs and sprints and that. So that's what I'm using, yeah.
You've had some cracking results on that car. It is a real giant killer. Am I not right in saying you took the hill climb leaders in it last year as well?
We did, yeah. We took the Leaders Championship last year, which I was chuffed about, because the year before I was second behind Jared O'Connell, and then this year, well, Jared maybe didn't do maybe the same amount of events or whatever in the hills. He was away off doing other hill climbs in foreign countries and what have you not. And Jared finished second behind me, so I won it the year and he finished second. But in that class it's a class. There's not too many comes out in it. Craig Antlet, you'd maybe have 4 or 5 competitors out in it. Other events, there was maybe only myself. Robert McJimsey would come out and give me a bit of a good run for my money in his wee car. It's a brilliant wee car. And so the only thing I could go for was, right, let's look at the class record here and try and beat it. So in some cases I was trying to beat my own record I'd set the year before. But the ambition last year was to try and set the record for the class for every hill in the championship, and I achieved that, and got the leaders championship. So I was really chuffed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of famous names on that trophy, like, you know. So
you set yourself some goal going for every class record. That's a brave target to try and go for. Fair play to you for doing it. The events I saw you on, you really were singing well. You're really going really well in that wee car, and it's great to see. And I actually see that Stephen Nevin has decided to come and join you with one as well. So
right.
I was looking forward to see how the Stephen Allen battle would go. Unfortunately, COVID has killed that at the minute. But hopefully before the season's out, we'll get to see Stephen versus Allen and see how that one pans out.
Right. Well, we had a run at the first sprint, but my car at a sprint is giving me problems. I'd done it last year. It's doing it this year with only one event that I went to. Was Nuts Corner, and she's just giving me problems, carbureting problems, you know. So hopefully we'll get that sorted out some stage and get her going a bit better at the sprints. Like, you know, the hills, it doesn't show up in the hills as much, but the sprints it does.
Yeah, when you mentioned carburation, I was talking to a fella here a couple of weeks ago. Might know a wee bit about it if you were speaking to him.
Yeah.
Boy lives local to you, Ken Colbert.
That's Dr. Weber.
Dr. Weber. I'd heard you at that one before. You have a big appointment with Dr. Weber.
Right. He has I bought a set of carbs just the week before lockdown happened, and Ken has them at the minute. And maybe a wee bit of tweaking to do. I'm changing from Weber to Delortos, and hopefully that'll maybe cure the problem, like, you know.
Yeah. Stephen, if he's listening, Stephen Nevin will be going, oh no, he's not going to be faster, is it? Robert McGinty's already had that thought. You just know.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Well, Alan, tell me this. What got you involved in motorsport?
I suppose that goes way back to the time when you learn to ride a bicycle. And you get the bicycle and you get cocky on it and you want to go faster and you want to go faster. And then as I grew up and we started to drive the wee grey Fergie on the farm, and it was as fast as the tractor would go. And you always had that, you know, the need for speed, as I would say, you know.
Yeah.
What got me into motorsport at 15, I went to work in McGashel in the labs. And in the labs there was 3 members of Dungan Motor Club. We had Gordon Taggart there at the time. We had the late Bryce Sands. Bryce only passed away recently. And we had another girl, Pat Johnson. And unfortunately, Pat is no longer with us as well. But they were 3, and I was always intrigued. They were talking about these rallies, and they were talking about, you know, where they were at the weekend, and which rally they were at, and all this. And I was intrigued with all this. Like, I was just drinking this all in. So anyway, I remember one time going down to see the start of a rally. How I got there, I haven't a clue, but it was down at the bush, and it was the start of one of the Dungannon events. And you hear these cars going, you hear this noise, and it was just someone else. And this guy was in an Anglia. He lifted the bonnet up, and I looked in and I seen these things hanging on the side of the engine, 4 trumpets, and it was making a lot of noise. And I thought, that's the flipping noise for me. I love that, you see. So you take this all in, like, you know. And what got me involved was, I suppose, just, you know, the hype around it all, you know. So I wasn't even driving at that stage. Then I have another wee story about hill climbs and things. Was other, you know, didn't realise there was other things till motorsport. Mm-hmm. And on a Saturday night, I lived up the Ballygolly Dungannon Road, just off the road. On a Saturday night, you used to go down with Shanks's mare, and you went down, you put your thumb out, and you thumbed the lift of Dungannon to the dancers or whatever it was in Dungannon, you say. Would have been about, 16 at the time, maybe early 17, but it was before I got the license anyway. This night, this big Jaguar rolled up with a trailer on behind it and a racing car on it. So he stopped, pulled up, and he says, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Dungannon. He says, well, jump in. He says, I'm going through Dungannon. I'm on my way to Belfast. it turned out I started to talk to him, and he was telling me, that's a lovely car you have in the back. And he says, that's a Brabham BT 28 or whatever it was, you say. He says, I'm coming from San Fin Hillcline. And I says, well, where's that? He says, that's just outside Pitlane, he says. And says, I had you a good day. But he says, I don't drive the car. He says, a fella Tommy Reid drives it. And he says, he set the fastest time of the day and won the event. And this guy turned out to be none other than Mick Mooney. Mick Mooney Irish racing cars and Tommy Reid. So we had a great old chat, and I thought, this San Fin Hillcline, this sounds a business. So I thought, I'm going to have to find out where this place is and make my way till it sometime. So the next year, Shanks is married again, down to the same place where I got the lift with him, only going the other road, to Ballygolly. So I found the lift, and these people were going till Inniskillen. So I thought, my feet, and thought, well, that's going past Clogher. Through Clogher, there's a road goes out across to Fintona. So I got myself to Clogher, started to walk, maybe walk 2 or 3 miles away up that road. Finally got to San Fin, was amazed at the cars, walked up through the paddock and got away up and stayed up at McDermott's. I think it was sort of an S bend there, you know. And that was a great event. So like I was hooked, rallying, hill climbing. I thought, this is what I would love to do, like. But Alan didn't have any money to do it with, you know. But as I said, I went on to work, and I bought a car of a couple of boys in McGashel, and they had this old Ford puddle jumper. You know what a puddle jumper is? There's an old high Ford Anglia or a Ford Popular that cross springs. There's no side box, you know. I brought that home, and I paid the pricely sum of £7.50 for it.
Okay.
Brought it home and brought it into the fields, took the mud guards off it, turned the wheels inside out so they were sitting the way out, and I drove around the fields. And there's another fella at that time that I run about a bit with, was a fella called Roy Pitlane. And Roy, he arrived down with an old Thames Trader van, and we ripped and rode and raced each other around that there for weeks. And then I got the license for the car. My father had a wee Ford Anglia. He changed the Ford Anglia in about 1970. This was 67 when I, 68 actually when I got my license. And then in 1970 he changed the car, and I bought the wee Ford Anglia. And then I thought, I'll have to have a crack at this rallying sometime. Dungan Motor Club, they run wheel events in the year. They run 3 navigation events, and then a navigation event at the end of the year for anybody that officiated on the other events. And they called it the official rally. And to get to do the official rally, you had to be a marshal or do something in the other night navigation or road rallies as they were there. And I went and done this event in 1971. That was about November time. And so that was my first event. And a wee 1200 Anglia, there was nothing done with her, only a set of 1600E wheels in her and uprated Coney shocks, and that was it. The rest of it was standard. Lot.
Well, you asked me about the puddle hopper. I was going to be contentious and say, was that a Mark 1 Escort? I'd be getting next now. I wait to see all the comments coming up. I say Davy Gibson's just spat his wine out at that remark. Oh dear. Well, here, I'm telling my dad told me this one. He says that in and about the time you would have started the rallying, that you had another distraction and that you would be a bit of an avid singer. Oh. Is there any truth in that story? And what was the correlation between the singing and the motorsport?
Right. Well, as a man says, I always wanted to be in motorsport. I always loved the, driving, But that was in 71. I done that wee event, and then in 1972 I got married, and that was the finish of everything. Like as far as motorsport was going to be concerned, Well, I thought it was there's another wee twist to it here, but anyway, I joined a band then that time, the Reflections from Dungannon. And well, they were playing every weekend. Friday and Saturday night, you were out playing maybe the odd time during the week as well. So, and you were a night's practicing that there. So, motorsport was basically out for 10 years nearly, So that was that. What I did do is, I know you asked people there, what's the first their first competition car. Well, I changed the wee Anglia early 72 before I got married. I bought a 998 Rally Imp and had been rallied. So I was going to take this up very seriously, I thought. But the damn thing, it flipping broke my heart and it broke my wallet. And that was it. So I decided to forget about rallying, but then I joined the band and I had to forget about rallying. So I sold that wee car on, and that was it. And I got my first Mark 1 Escort then, which was a Mark 1 Escort van for a wheel of months, because we were moving house and doing things. It was a useful thing to have about, you know. And then I bought a Mark 1 Escort 1100L, 2-door, nice wee red one, put a set of GT wheels on it with Formula 70 tyres, was around that time, 12-inch tyres. And I done a sprint in it at St. Angelo, the Iron Sprint. Angelo in 73. So that was my only two really motorsport events I done then, because I was away playing in the band, as I said, and that was it, like, you know.
Yeah.
So that was it. Yes, the band was another side to life. It was an enjoyable 10 years, but it was time to stop it. I stopped it, and well, I took on a wee business in 82, a wee corner shop away from myself, and then I decided then I must give this motorsport another wee crack. And in 82 then I bought a wee Sunbeam, and we've sort of had it ever since.
So what would you class then as being your first competition car? Would it be the Anglia or the Sunbeam?
Well, the Anglia was my wee road car, and I suppose I used it as a road car as well. It was a proper prepared car, you know. So it was. As you know, the like of the Metro 6R4s, I had to build something like 200 units to get them and all the rest of it. Well, Hillman Imps, to get them homologated to use, you know, a 998 engine and twin 40 Webers and all this sort of thing, they produced a thing called a Rally Imp, and there's only so many. I don't know what the number was, but there's only so many made. And it had a wee dash and all. It had a dash using the Smith slocks like it was in the Lotus Cortinas and that. It was a lovely wee car. But as I said, it was hard to keep going as a road car, and you know, as I said, I never even got doing a rally in it. That's actually, the fella sold it till we were to do a dual entry for the Inniskillen Sprint, and it wasn't ready. There was some difficulty. It wasn't ready anyway. He wasn't able to do it, and I thought, well, Rodney Burrows was about at the time, late Rodney Burrows, and Rodney says, "Sure, take the Escort and come on up." He says, "Sure, I'll be going up too," and we went up together in a convoy, and his navigator BJ Quinn lent me a helmet, and we done the event, and there was a bit of crack, you know. So that was my first sprint. First competition car then, really competition car, which was just solely for competition, was a wee Sunbeam. I bought a wee 1000cc Sunbeam, which had the 4.4 diff in it, and I bought a standard 1600 engine out of an Avenger and gearbox, and we stuck that in it, and I done the Fisher's Rally in 1982 with that wee car. And then I developed it on. Robbie McGurk had an Avenger, and Robbie was a fairly rapid man in an Avenger, and he was selling an Avenger after a rally he'd done. I bought the car, brought it down to Kenny, and Kenny swapped engines and transmissions and everything on it, and that gave me then, you know, a fairly rapid fairly good wee car, a wee 1600 modified, you know, car, and done wheelie rallies with it. And we've done my first stage rally. Eric Patterson came and navigated for me in Cavan back, I think, about 84, and started to do rallies with it. Done wheelie navigations and stuff like that. Early navigations whenever it was road rallies, and but then they changed them over then about 83 till these you know, navigation events, you know, where there's all regularity running. But I got a good grip at the early the last of the road rallies, really, you know. And then that wee car, we done the sprints with it. So we did. Done a few hill climbs, but the sprints. And then there was a road going class, and there was 5 of us competing in 85 in the road going class in the sprints. I won it that year, so I did the first in the class for the championship. And that was close. That was close battles then. And we had a lot of different venues for sprints then. There was 2 events at the showgrounds in Ballymena. So there was in the showgrounds, yeah. And I remember doing a rally there one night there as well, and in the dark, and there was car lights coming everywhere at you, you know. So there was it was a night that must have been about 80, 84 in around that time, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember going to do the first sprint at it, and I won it that day. Won the class, and the boys were all close behind me. The next one we went to do there was the second round up there, and that was maybe say in June or July, whatever it was. And lo and behold, the 5 of us finished on the same second, and the same, it just was split by tenths. Like say, that's right. So somebody was saying 86.1 for argument's sake.
Yeah.
I finished in 86.5 and I was 5th. That's how close it was.
Jeepers.
Alan Ruddy would have been in the class that time. Alan was in the mini, and if he come out, he was sort of the 5th person. There was about 5 of us all, you know, dicing all the time. I said, Alan, he was in the mini at that time. That was good too. Mm-hmm.
Would there be many of those guys from then still competing now?
Alan would be the only one that I remember, and not, you know, that he was in our class that time. But there would still be guys, you know. There was a fellow, Robin Walsh. Robin, he had a cadet with a 16 cross flow Ford engine in it, and that thing was rapid too. Like, you know, we're all in the same, you know. Stanley Pinkerton would have come out in no time. He was a quick sunbeam man from Crumlin there, yeah. So it was always good. And I remember doing a sprint, Nuts Corner, but not Nuts Corner, the racetrack. It was over, they put this course out where, you know, the Sunday market does be.
Yeah.
Course there one time. And I remember the late Rodney Burrows there with the BDG, the Mark II Escort. She was like an ex-works car. And the sound of that thing then, like, it was fantastic. Yeah.
You can't beat the note of a BDG coming at you without a doubt.
That's right. Uh-huh.
But I was nosing there. I was speaking to a few people now, and I was telling them I was speaking to you. And I'm told that in our midst here tonight, between you and I, is a man that led the Circuit of Ireland Rally.
Who was that?
You, I'm told. It was the circuit, wasn't it?
It was the circuit, that's right.
What's the story of that? I was told to ask you that. Apparently that's a great one.
That was 1994. A circuit in 1994 started at Bangor, and I had a wee twin cam Corolla, GT Corolla at the time.
Uh-huh.
We used to do navigation events and all the rest of it. Like, I've had a pile of different cars in between, but doing wee navigation events, and Isaac Busby was my navigator. And Isaac, I have to say, he was one of the top navigators in Ireland, and would be recognised that around that time by navigators as maybe the top navigator. He was a fantastic navigator, and as I said, it's a team effort in this all, you know. But Isaac and myself, we had done the 91 circuit, 93 circuit, and I was doing, Richard Young got me to do a double O car in 1992. And I noticed this guy had won a class in a Corolla, and I knew the guy. He was from Donegal. Eugene O'Donnell, I think it maybe was his name. But anyway, Eugene was in a different class. He wasn't in a Group M class. And I discovered it was standard reduction. So I thought, that's a nice wee class. You know, it's basically a Group N car, but you don't have to run racers. You have to run road tires, which makes the thing a wee bit more economical. So in 93, I got myself a set of road tires, got the car all prepared. We had to get, you know, and the struts, front struts had to run the big springs and everything, and fixed platforms, no adjustables or nothing like that there. So I got the car all ready for 93 circuit, and Isaac and myself done it, and we won the class and finished, I think, 21st overall or something like that, you see. So 94 come along, same thing again. We had to put a new gearbox in her because, well, there was a special deal on Toyota boxes, so I bought one of them. We got a new diff in her, we got her all prepared, bought a set of Avon CR28 Sport tyres, road legal tyre. Okay, we put them brand new on into the first stage at Bangor, just sliding about all over the place with the new tyres, just barely controllable like. But we got out on the Friday stages, got the Friday stages all done, come back in, we're leading the class. We were, I think, about 32nd or 33rd overall, low 30s anyway. So that was all right. On the Saturday morning, Isaac drove the car up to Dungannon, and we stopped there at the BP's filling station just at the end of the motorway. And we were waiting, and we were there about an hour before the next stage started, which was only up the road, you know, and it's what I had called my local stage. And we got into the local stage about half an hour before the stage was about to start. Snow started, and it started to snow real heavy. So by the time we got up to the stage had already started. Stephen Finlay was leading the event, I think, at that time. And you had Frank Maher, you had John Price, you had loads of guys. And they were all the way into the stage, and that was it. So we come to start the stage, and still snowing. We started the stage and very gingerly around the first mile or two of it. And then the next thing, I started to get the feel of the car and got going. And way up over the top of a big hill called Dergna, there's a road to the left. We went away and around it. I seen Ian Greer. Ian, he was off at a famous right-hand bend, and that's a real wee narrow tight lane of a road, you see. And as I was coming down till near the end of it, I was coming up behind an Astra, and it turned out it was the late Alan Spears from Market Hill, and Alan was in a Mazda. So he must have seen the lights coming, or in the Astra, and I could see him pulling over. The next thing, he just slid right over into the shop. That was him disappeared.
Right.
I bombed on past. Anyway. Past then, probably in about the next couple of mile, I passed probably about 6 people in there. So we got out to the end of the stage, and I come down, sailing down to the stop line, and the guy looks at the card and all the rest, and he says, "Did you pass anybody in there?" I say, "Maybe half a dozen cars." Yeah, right. It was 11-mile stage. I had done it in 16 minutes, 10 seconds. Never forget it.
In the snow?
In the snow. He says, Finlay was over 20 minutes in there. So it already nearly 4 minutes out of Stephen Finlay, what, you know. And then he says, he checked, he wasn't sure whether the time was right or not, but the time was right. I knew the route fairly well, right? It actually went past my old school, and I used to walk part of it up past the Clonanese churches and that there. So I knew it and knew what I was doing. That was all right. We got then, went into Auchnacloy and out the Acher Road, and went straight into a 17-miler stage up the Clocher Valley, finished away in the outside of my town. And I didn't know a stone of it, not a stone. So we went into there. The snow was still on the ground. I think it had stopped snowing at that stage. And we got up that stage, and the first thing I remember passing a 4-wheel drive Sierra Cosworth with a lady crew on it, and I can't remember the girl's name, but she should be in Maher-Felton District Motor Club, but she was there, and got past her, and then the next thing I passed another guy in a Corolla, same as mine. He pulled over, let me pass, on I went, got out to the end of that stage. Thought, well, that was good. There's plenty of grip in there. And then we done another stage over the top mountain at Tempo. Right. And we come into the service in Enniskillen, and all the row was serious. All these competitors, they wanted them stages cancelled because everybody was stuck everywhere on them. So that was all right. We were headed off then out of service and away to Sligo for a breakfast halt in one of the hotels in Sligo. And the next thing then, after we had finished our breakfast, and that would come out, and they had results up. And we had jumped up till, I think it was 5th overall. But somebody said that, yes, I think I topped the leaderboard at the end of that stage because it was the quickest on it, in the first stage in the snow. So anyway, I think John Price, he had got an old set of Forest Tyres or somebody had been carrying with him, and he got them onto the 6R4, and he was setting very quick times. But it turned out we were first quickest on the first stage out. We were third quickest on the 17-miler, which I didn't know any of it. And then we were fourth quickest over Top Mountain, going down into servicing in Enniskillen. So all them times just jumped me right up the leaderboard to fifth. I was okay. Well, Isaac and me looked at each other, and his man says, we're like rabbits caught on the lights of a car, like the eyes were that big, you know, how did that happen? So the time we get to Limerick, that's where the rally was based, the time we get to Limerick, we'll be well down the field again, sure, we'll be out of it, like, you know. We got to Limerick, and I remember going in the last stage into Limerick, I bust a brake pipe over the back axle. So only a front brakes and a handbrake. And there was I know we let a few boys past us. So like we're already 2 minutes we lost in that stage. So we got into Limerick anyway, and the results come up on start times and all the rest of the next day. We were still lying fifth. So out on the Sunday, and the snow had, you know, but it was a real wet old weekend. And the wee tires, they were brilliant. Those wee CR28 Sports were fantastic in the wet. So it was really wet weekend. And I remember going out on the first stage away out over Tipperary or somewhere over there, it was Freimachers country. And we were on fifth on the road. And I remember going out to the start of the stage. Stephen Finley, he was already sitting up at the start of the stage. And I pulls up alongside Stephen. He says, do you want to go in front of me just in case you catch me, you know? Bit of an old banter. That was all right. No, so I will just pull in here behind behave ourselves, you know. So we got through that stage, we got out to the other end of it, and I tell you who was lying fourth was Jim Crozier in the big green Manta. You remember it? When Jim was lying fourth, aye, he run a 2-litre Vauxhall engine, and 16-valve Vauxhall engine, rapid car, and Jim could go well in it, you see. Poor Jim, he had very little tires or what with him, and we come to the end of the stage. The boys were out with these big calipers measuring the wheels, the scrutineers. And Jim had put on a big set of wheels which are oversized, and Jim was disqualified. But Brian Patterson came to me, and Brian says about you know, what our times were, and we had set the same time as Jim on the stage, you see. So we're still up there, you know, good times. So we reckoned Sunday we'll be way down, maybe even out of the top 20 again, you know. But with Jim going out of the event, here would be promoted up to fourth at the end of Sunday run. So instead of going backwards, we're going forwards. Right. So that was right. On the Monday then, things had dried up a bit. And we headed back up north. And there was a couple of guys got me coming back up the road again. And my tires were the same tires I started with. They were shot. Like they were done now. And we got back to Bangor, and I finished up 6th overall, and the best result I ever had in any rally, you know, well, in a rally like that, you know. So yes, that was a great old event.
That's some good. 6th overall in a Group N Corolla on road tires when you're up again. 6R4s, Stephen Finlay, 2-litre Manta 16 valves. No doubt, no shortage of BDA and BDG escorts, Pintos. That's right. Some good.
That's right. Well, I'm just thinking back, it was Kieran O'Neill caught me in the Cadet. Kieran come up fast behind us, and a fella in a BDA escort, Smith, would have been Derek, what do they call him? He's Smith from Dublin, a Dublin fella, and she was one of the old school Fords, you know. She wasn't like modern day built BDA. Modern historic car. She was one of the old school, you know, Mark IIs, and they caught me and on the road back up, and that was that. So I was, but we finished up 6th, which was a great result.
Oh shit! Hold on a second. He touched the wrong one.
There you are. You're back.
Unfortunately, because I use the iPad, people send me all sorts of jokes, as you know. And tonight, I haven't had as many flaming jokes on Messenger. I've had more tonight than I've had in this last week. So I don't know if people know or what's going on, but I've had about 8 or 10 have appeared up. So I was trying to get rid of one quick, because I know when he said it, dear knows what it would have been if it had opened, you know.
Yeah.
So sorry, I interrupted you there.
No problem.
Well, the next question, maybe that answers it, I don't know, but what would be your favourite event and why?
Well, the Circuit of Ireland was always a favourite event because to me, a rally is the challenge of going into the unknown and the test of man and machine, basically. Like the modern day sort of events now with the boys running the 2.5 escorts and all the rest of it, to me, they're only races because they're going to the same flipping stages, they're using the same pace notes, and they're just tweaking them all the time. And that is even on WRC rounds, you will see the same thing there. And when an accident's going to happen, it's going to be a big one, like Titanic last year, you know, perfect example. And that's the way I see, you know, stage rallying now. To me, a rally is a bit of a challenge, and you know, a 4 or 5 day rally. You know, like if you take rallies away years ago, the famous rallies like London to Mexico, London to Sydney, you know, that they're proper rallies to me.
Yeah. Did I see your son doing, was it the RAC last year, tail end of last year, and doing really well?
Aye, he had a good wee run. The RAC runs for 5 days. Then they run a single day for Clubman. They call it Clubman event. They only had about 20 entries in it, you know. It was limited to 20 entries. So they had this rally within a rally, if you know what I mean. But the way they put them in, they just put you in different places. Now, Brian was running well away at the back because nobody knew him or anything like that there. So they run him away near the back. So he was catching cars and not on stages. And he finished up second overall in that wee event. In a real good run.
Because I remember talking to you either before it or afterwards. You said you told me you were either going to it or you had just come back from it. I think you were going to it, and then I watched results for it. Just when you mentioned those sort of retro or older type rallies.
That's right.
I remember seeing it. But they're a class event. They're brilliant. If I could get more of them, it would be brilliant.
That's going back to what rallying really was, and you know, and you're driving the forest basically blind, though they give you safety notes and that, you know. Like whenever we've done the Circuit of Ireland, I've done it many times with Isaac myself, and I would have we just went out and maybe done a few of the stages in the north, checking their notes and what have you not. You see, once we crossed the border and got down into the stages there, we were driving them blind just for the safety, but you'd got used to, you know. And we always used Brian Patterson's notes, and we never went wrong on them. You know, they were always, you could trust them. Yeah. And always trusted Isaac on the notes too. And I must tell you a wee story. Isaac was a fantastic, as I said before, they're a fantastic navigator. But I'll never forget, we were doing the Morn Rally one year. And again, you were going over the same stages, you had the pace notes, so you got faster and faster. That was it. So you know, but I'll never forget this year. We come down through a wee series of bends near the finish. There's a big wide open bit, and you come down through into a right, and it was always a 3 right. And I come down at this time, and Isaac called me 4 right. I thought, that's not right. There's a 3 right, you see. But I says, Isaac, you called that a 4 right back there. I thought that was always a 3 right. He says, you're going a bit too fast, and he says, I need to slow you down. So he called 4, and you see, and you naturally think you brake a wee bit harder for it, you know.
You must have been scared of a bit there, Alan, were you?
Yeah, that's right. It was. But the circuit was always a good man. But I love doing the old road rallies too, and the navigation events. Some of them was good. I'll tell you what we had one time, which about in 1985, I bought a Peugeot 205 GTI. Betsy job, you see.
You had a Betsy?
A Betsy.
Oh,
well, that was probably the newest rally car I ever had. She was only a year old, and it was a dual thing. The wife used it to go shopping, and all you had to do, there was a removable cage in the back of it. And you're going to do a rally, you push the back seats forward and put this cage in the back, but the rest of the cage was always in the car, the front of it all. But to get the back seats to work as back seats, you had to do that. And I bought that, and I bought it of Derek Boyd. Derek done the circuit in it in 1985, would have been. 85. She was 84. I think they come out in 84, the 205 GTI, V1600. Was that right?
Yeah, late 84, early 85, somewhere in there.
84.
Mine's D and she's 86.
Aye, there you are. Well, he bought that. He bought it off Lyons in Castle Derg. And he done the circuit, and maybe some other rallies as well. I don't know, but I bought it off, and it was coming up till around Christmas time in 85. I bought it. It sold the Sunbeam after doing the sprints and what rallies I've done with it. And we done the Ulster. That was my first international event in 86 with it. But again, then I thought, well, this is a money pit. I need to, pull back here a wee bit, and I sold it on. Then the wife, she had got another car, and that was that. And then, you're quaking. I want to get back at this again, And I finished up. I bought a wee Citroen Visa GT. That was the same wee engine as the Samba 1360 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I had some fun in that for what it was. And again, we done night navigations, and the first time I had it out, the alternator gave up on me in Dungan, a wee Dungan event, and a fella Trevor I knew was navigated for me that night. And then Isaac was doing that rally that night, and there was a rally coming up, a 200 miler that North Armagh was going to be running. And I approached Isaac and said, hey, would you be interested in doing that event? And it wasn't a championship event or anything like that. He says, mate, he says, So I got the wee car sorted out for to go to do this rally. And I got an oil cooler put on her. And there must have been a joint wasn't just tight or something with that. But I went down to lift Isaac at the Cairn Grove Hotel, I think it was in Portadown. And that's where the finish of the rally was going to be. But it was going to start at the Hilltop filling station up at Market Hill, outside Armagh. So I says, hey, Isaac, I'll meet you there. And that was that. So I was going down to Isaac, and I was reversing the car in and around, and I happened to see this smoke coming out of the front of the car. Got out of the car, looked, and here there was a wee pool of oil that was running out of her. There was a joint, wasn't just right tight on the oil cooler. So Isaac sort of looked at me and looked at the car and thought, this is going to be some night, So I said, what do we do now? So we heads off and down the Armagh Road. There's a filling station. I pulled in there, got a gallon of oil. We topped the oil up for she was getting low. And then up around the corner from this Drumna Street filling station, I knew a fellow up there, hot rod man, Mervyn McGrounds. So I would pop up and see Mervyn, because Mervyn had got me a couple of shocks built for the front of her through Leda. And that's all we ever done. We changed the shocks in the front. We put heavier brake pads in her, and the back of her was all standard. There was nothing done. And with the brakes set up in such a way, if you hit the brakes hard, she would lock the back. And in round wee lanes, that was brilliant, because you could set her up, you see, going into, like nearly not using the handbrake, you could steer and hit the brake, you see. But anyway, took her up to Mervyn and scratched her head. And what do we do now? He says, we'll block off this, he says, and do away with the thing. But by that time, oil had got all around the manifold and that there, and it was smoke everywhere. So the smell of it. So we got up to Hilltop, and we come in, and the smoke was still flying out. You could see boys tittering and laughing and going on like, this sort of thing coming in, you see. I think Isaac wondered, have I done the right thing going out with this boy for the first night, like, you see. Out in anyway, and we teared up through Dead Man's Hill and all around them great wee roads that they have in North Armagh and up round down towards South Armagh and that, you see. And we come into a petrol halt then. There was a petrol halt after about 3 hours driving. We come into the petrol halt at the Hilltop filling station again, and times no were checked. We were leading. So a lot of boys then weren't laughing, you see.
Right on the other side of their faces.
And we come in at the end of the night. We were out and then done another probably 3 hours driving. It was, as I said, it was what they used to call the sort of the 200 milers, or near enough 200 mile, And we come in, we won the event. And you see, I got as much enjoyment out of that as probably getting the 6th overall in the Circuit of Ireland. I love them events. And then another time, then we run that for maybe a couple of years. And then time was doing the Ulster International in the wee Peugeot. the car at that time to beat was the Corolla Twin Cab. So I decided, right, maybe we'll go for one of these Corolla Twin Cabs. And Jerry McVeigh had got one in, as the man says, insider, and that should have been maybe a dog in it or something like that there. The car just wasn't, what he had wanted to sell, just a wee trade car. So I bought that as my first Corolla, and that was about 89. And got it stuck into the navigations in it, and it was a great wee motor. It got us some great results, We went and we done Monaghan events, navigation events, and great events up there. They were like the old road rallies down here, and flat out basically. And I remember the first night we went up there, it was the Drumlin, the Monaghan Drumlin. Gavin Campbell, he was organising it with Maurice Moffat up there. So we went up to do this. They said, come up and try the Drumlin rally anyway. So again, we were at it's an all-nighter too. So somewhere in the middle of it, we had a petrol halt, and we come in, Gavin comes up, he says, well, how's it going, boys? He says, I hear you're going very well. He says, you look like as if you made the second overall behind it was Bones O'Connor and Paul Phelan. I said, I couldn't be. Well, that's what it looks like, that's where you're at the minute. So we went away out, and after the petrol halt and done, we come back in. But in the first part of the rally, and Gavin hadn't got the times in from the marshals, at the checkpoints. We come to a crossroads, and I remember Isaac saying, it's not manned, there's nobody here, but there were a pile of people all standing about. We didn't see a car with, Monaghan Motor Club on it or anything like that there, like the way you do normally in navigation events. You'll see a car, that's your control car. We drove on, and we discovered that it was manned, just with a man standing with a board and a pen and a pencil, and you signed your card knowing you went. So we missed that, but we finished up 8th overall that night. So I went back up then to do another wee event up there, one of their closed events, maybe 6 weeks later. This was way into November. And it was only about 60 miles. Yeah. So anyway, we're seated, I think we're seated about 8 or 9. But we come down into the final control. I was only getting going. And Isaac says, right, that's it. What do you mean? He says, the rally's over, that's it. We're going no further. There was one guy sitting at the control car. So we were in second. And the guy turned out to be no other than Andy Macro. Andy's a famous name up around the Monaghan events, you see. So Andy, he was in first. We were in second. And it was pitch black dark, and you couldn't see a thing. But the boys in the van, they were sitting, totting up and all the rest of it. So I heard this boy shouting out of the van, hey Andy, you haven't won the night. Well, we had beaten Andy.
Okay.
We won the event overall.
Okay.
So that was it. So we went up to Monaghan, and we done very well in events. As a matter of fact, in 1990, I was the club champion in 1990, which was one of my achievements that, I always was very proud of, But as I said, I wouldn't have done it without Isaac on the maps. As I said, he was magic.
Yeah. One question that I'm going to run, I have a wee, for those of you that don't know, Alan has seen them. I have a wee sort of 8 memoir questions that I like to ask people. And one later down I'm going to bring in now. Well, when you mentioned that, you say that championship would have been one of your most memorable. What would be your most memorable moment in motorsport then? What thing sort of really just is your favourite thing? What would be your most memorable bit?
I know there's been many of them. I probably have told you probably some of them there, like obviously the Ford Circuit, but before that was probably winning that 200 miler with Isaac, the first event with him, a car only out in a second event, so, things like that. But memorable, there's been a lot of them over the years. But I have to say that there, like in 2012, I won the class and actually the category in the Tyres Tarmac Championship. And that was a memorable event, winning that, doing the international,
Which category was that? I didn't realise you'd done that.
Aye, well, that was, the category was in the historic category.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the historic, you have historics, you have, what is it, D's and C, whatever, I can't remember now, but whatever the historic category I was in, let's see, I had a bit of C. so you'd have class C1, C2, C3, and C4,
Yeah.
C5. And we went to the last round, which was in Cork, and I was lying second to Keith McCaver in the Porsche. And Keith, he was leading the category,
Yeah.
but I was leading my own class in the category.
Yeah.
And we went, and I went out in the morning to start the event and looked down around the park for me. I couldn't see Keith's Porsche. Keith hadn't turned up. Was out testing, I think the night before he was going to come down to Cork, and the gearbox had given up on him. So he pulled out of the event. So all I had to do to beat Keith was to finish that event. Now, we didn't wreck it. We drove it blind, just basically on the notes. And I just drove a sensible rally, got to the finish. Not only then, I knew I had the class, I had the class 1 anyway. But all I had to do was just to finish, and I had the category 1 too. So we got that, and that was another one of the memorable events,
I didn't realise you had that success as well. I'm learning loads tonight.
Hey?
I'm learning loads tonight.
Aye. Oh no, there was plenty of events now we done and had good results, and
Yeah. Well, tell me this: have you been working at your car during lockdown? And if so, what have you done to
it? Nothing. I bought them carbs, as I said, just the week before lockdown, and as I said, I left it down again, and well, he was locked down because I actually left him at the end of his lane, or the end of his driveway, in behind the motor, and he picked them up there because we're into lockdown and that was it all over, Yeah. So they're down McCann, going to get the car down there, hopefully, whatever events we're going to get out in. So hopefully we'll still have a wee bit of time, but we'll get that. But I haven't really been doing anything to it. I bought another wee imp way back a lot of years ago. And I've been sort of stepping out the inside of it and that there. I'm going to get the floor painted and stuff like that in it, So that's all the wee car what I've been doing. I haven't really touched the Escort at all.
Well, when you mention an Escort, I hear rumours of a Thunder Saloon Escort sitting somewhere about your place. Is there any chance of us seeing that out in Class 8? Maybe get Jared O'Connell a wee run for his money?
I doubt it. I doubt. We'll never give. No, there's nobody will tackle Gerald. No, it's an old Thunderbird saloon or old Thunder saloon car. It would have run. It actually ran a 2.2 BDG in the state. So it did.
Okay.
Then it's only I bought it to get parts and things like that off it, And it's lying up in the shed, and it might never turn a wheel, So then, but I have an engine, and I have the gearbox, and I have stuff there for it, if it ever did come around to doing anything with it, But I can't say the wee imp. I'd like to get it out for a wee, wee sprint sometime, or just for the crack of the thing, For, as I said, I always liked them, Mm-hmm.
The way things are going, you could have plenty of time to get both the imp and the Thunder Saloon sorted before we start. There you go, get cracking.
The way it's going, aye. Maybe by the time this all gets ready again, I'll have hung the helmet up and said, that's it, I'm finished. But I'll tell you, the other wee story I'm maybe going to tell you about Tom Luther.
I was going to ask you about that. Is there any truth in this rumour?
Yes, there is truth in the rumour. Tom, here we usually go to the first sprint at Nuts Corner, and I always look around to see is a big rover there. And I usually go over and say, look, Tom, when are you going to hang the helmet up and give up? Because whenever you do that, I have another 10 years to do to catch up with you.
I think from talking to Tom last week, Tom has absolutely no intentions of it.
Intentions of quitting. I doubt I'll be quit a long time, and Tom will still be going.
Well, he enjoys it. There's no doubt about it. Everybody enjoys it.
Just one great big gentleman. That's Tom. Mm-hmm.
Very much so. Well, coming back to yourself here, you've mentioned a lot of the cars you've driven. Have you had any actual favourite car? Which of your cars you've had and owned and driven would be your favourite?
I think the Mark 1 still is my favourite, I bought a Mark 2 a way back when it was a late 90s. Would that have been about 97? 97. I got an offer it was actually through Maxwell actually, that there was an offer of an entry for the Circuit of Ireland from the Ulster Cancer Foundation. That's actually when we done the first Circuit of Ireland in '91. The Ulster Cancer Foundation, we got an entry through there, and we got this entry, but a new car. And there was a fella, he was hiring cars down outside Cumber, Gregory Presho, I think they call him. And Gregory had a car, a wee Escort Mark II. It would have been Fintan McGrady's car. I mean, competing against Fintan in the early Donegal in '91. I mean, seeing that wee car, so we own an arched car.
Right.
And he had this wee car to hire. So we hired it for the event. And we done the event, and we were leading the event, leading the class. And it was up to maybe as high as 12th or 13th overall. And great wee car, great handling wee car, powerful wee car, and all the rest of it. 2 stages from the last. We're on home ground here. It was a stage up near Offnacloy at the back of Carnteel. And 2 stages from the last. I remember coming up to a hairpin, and there was one of these hairpins like uphill, going off one road, up hairpin up the hill. So we come belting down anyway. I pulls the handbrake to get round the hairpin, and the sort of momentum of the car, she went back roads a bit. And I had a sticker in first gear, and as I went off, I heard a wee noise. But I just got up round the corner, and just the whole thing, bang, that was it. Engine, con rods, everything out, oil everywhere. That was it all over.
Oh, dear.
Leading the class. Ah, well, sure, that was it. Oil give up, and that was that. But I bought that wee car then, and we done the circuit again in the next year, '98.
Yeah.
And then went on. But I remember that first year I had it, that's where I was going to start telling you, I enjoyed that wee car, the year we hired it. And I remember after the first stage, I come out at the end of it, and I thought, flip me, there's an animal to drive, no power steering and everything else, she just was, but there was just something about the way it handled me. I said, I would love this in a Mark 1. Not a Mark 2, but a Mark 1, just working like that. And that's what drove me towards the Mark 1. And that's still my favorite car. Like, recently I had a couple of rapid Mark 2s, but I just didn't feel comfortable in them. It just didn't, that yellow car, it just didn't work the way I wanted to work. Okay, maybe we should have tweaked a bit more of the suspension and stuff like that there, because I went and done some of the hill climbs, and I was actually quicker in the Mark 1 of the BDJ than I was on the 2.5, the yellow car. Well, but it's still around, because it's still in the shed. Brian, he put it up for sale, and he put his hand up, and he bought it for doing tarmac events with.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. You had that beautiful, I would have said the mustardy one, but we'll go with the yellow, that beautiful yellow Escort. Is there any comparison at all between it and your Mark 1, or are they just completely chalk and cheese?
They're a bit chalk and cheese. As I said, the Mark 2, a lot of power, but she just didn't want to do she didn't just fit in what I wanted her way to handle,
Yeah.
And where the Mark 1 does, she does what I want her to do. And I think maybe I went too much power, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Mark 1 seemed like the Mark 1's, she's running about 250 brake. The Mark 2 was 330 brake.
Right, so did he break a difference? Yeah,
she was a good rapid car, there's no doubt about it. But I think once you start going over 250 brake in an Escort, it can be an animal.
There's I remember watching with that yellow car, and she was great to watch, and you really used to grab it with a scruff. That's the politer version. You used to grab it with a scruff and really drive it and push it on, and it was great to watch.
Don't get me wrong, a lovely car to drive, and the what do you call it, box and everything, the tractor box and everything, the sequential back. It was a lovely car to drive, and great power and everything in it. But I don't know. It just, as I said, but I didn't feel. I didn't want to do what I wanted the way to get time. I know what you mean. Mark 1. I like sticking in the Mark 1.
So every time you mention the word Mark 1, you get a big smile in your face.
Right.
Well, here, in all your career, Who would your motorsport idol be?
That has to be Roger Clark and the Mark 1 Escort.
Should have known, shouldn't I? I should have known.
Oh, aye, he was a man in a Mark 1 Escort.
Very much so. There's some great. I've watched some great footage across the internet and all of them, and
Right.
man definitely had a gift and a talent for throwing a Mark 1 about.
He was a Mark 1 maestro.
You don't do too bad yourself now. You're not too bad in it yourself.
Yeah, there's boys quicker than me now.
Well, you're probably you've probably just answered the next question. I was going to say, if you could have a run in a car with somebody, who would you want to run with?
Well, probably let Roger Clark and a Mark 1 Escort. Yes, that's there's answer. But yeah, well, taking it into the up to date. Well, probably any of the top WRC drivers.
Right.
And probably our own local man, Chris Meek. A run with Chris in one of the modern WRC cars down the stage would be something. I think that I got my first time that I ever sat in a quick car. I done a bit of navigating, or there was no navigating. You were sitting there like a sack of spuds. Was Lurgan Park Rally with Ken, and the
That
first
would
car.
be a run.
And then the following year, I think we only done that in 1 year. I'd have been in 86 or whatever, Ken. Then got the 205 Peugeot, the rear wheel drive, and then we got, and that was an education. Running that, I sat with Kenny for about 4 years there. So I did. And then the next year, I was hoping to maybe get invited or do it myself in the wee Corolla, but I didn't get doing it. And Eric Patterson went with that year, and Ken won it overall. So there you are. So
He was talking about winning it there a couple of weeks ago when we were talking. So that's a great achievement to have under your belt too, winning Lurgan Park.
That's right. Oh, aye, that's right. But again, it was just a race, like, you know, they were just doing the same thing every year and the same, you know. So there you are. Mm-hmm.
But it certainly worked. Well, this is probably going to be escort again. I know, but I have to ask you because it's one of the ones I like to ask the same question. If you could drive any car anywhere, what would you like to drive and where would you like to drive it?
Yeah. Well, I suppose I'd love to have been around the 70s and had a full works Mark 1 Escort and doing the Circuit of Ireland, something like that there, and really see how I would run against the guys that were running them days, like, you know. But yes, that'd be a lovely thing to do. But if I'm probably going to surprise you here when I tell you what I would love a run in sometime. I'd love a run in something like one of them cars that the like of Stephen Galt has now, or Alan Castle has, a single seater around Kirkustown.
Would you?
I would love a wee go in that. I've had a couple of runs in single seaters and I did enjoy it. But I always threatened maybe to go single seater route, but I never got round it. You know, like a Pitlane, a nice Pitlane there would be around Kirkustown. I would imagine would be some thrill.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Did you ever fancy going the Pitlane route? And you said you had.
Oh, I toyed with the idea because, like, what I probably spent on an engine would get you into, well, maybe not the quickest Formula 3 would be around, but you could get yourself in there, like, you know. You could buy a good single seater, you know, for a bit less than an Escort. But no, I always fancied it because I had a couple of runs in single seaters just playing about with them, you know. I'll never forget one time Richard Young arrived up at Nuts Corner and Maxwell had this press day with all members of the press and they're giving them runs around in Richard's Formula Fords. So I got into one of these Formula Fords and there was a guy who was a pace setter, but I was up behind him all the time and pushing him basically, you see. And he gets out of the car at the end of we'll come in after the wee run. He says, I wouldn't like to run with you in a race, he says. And then Richard winks at him and says, well, he says, this man's a wee bit of experience. Because yeah, that's the thing I must tell you about. about Richard Young and myself.
Okay.
Back in 91, we done the circuit, Isaac and myself. And about maybe 6 months before it, I was in McGashel one day and there was a Mark 1 Escort sitting in it, all dressed up as a rally car. And these people were standing about and they were talking about Oliver Haddon had the Ford dealership in McGashel at the time. But anyway, I got talking to this fella and said, hey, what he's doing? Is that a rally owner or someone? No, he says, we're over here. He says, we're going to enter the Guinness Book of Records by touching every county in Ireland. Say, that sounds good. That sounds a challenge. So on the phone to Isaac, say, how do you fancy going around Ireland? And we'll touch every county in it and try and get ourselves into the Guinness Book of Records. So we got what the record was to be set and all the rest of it. So we got a Maxwell on board, and then we needed another driver. You have the 2 drivers. So we approached Richard Young, and Richard and I we drove the wee Corolla around Ireland, and we set for the Guinness Book of Records, I think it was 13 minutes and, 13 minutes, 13 hours on. 13 hours, 10 minutes, something like that. But we were sticking, you had to stick till the speed limits, and you had a tachograph fitted. Tachograph was fitted in the car. We got it done with Denison's or someone down there, Ballyclare. They fitted the tachograph and all. And you had to take a photograph of every county you went into. So there was a county sign like County Mayo or County, County Antrim, whatever. So we started off in Monaghan, and we were doing it to lift some money for the Ulster Cancer Foundation. They had come on board with this as well. And we went around and we done the whole thing in downtown radio. They covered it and all the rest of it. And we come in, set the record. We had beaten the record that the previous people had set and all the rest of it. And we were sitting at 60 miles an hour, at the speed limit. You couldn't go above 60.
Huh?
But what we discovered was they had raised the speed limit to 100 kilometers an hour down south, which was 62 mile an hour. So we could have done another an hour. Somebody come out and a few months after it, and they beat our record because they went at a slightly higher speed. So that record was beat. We done it again in 94. We had another attempt at it. There was a record-breaking day or someone in Belfast, and they said, right, this is one record we want to see broken. So we went out and we did break it again. But then Guinness Book of Records wouldn't recognise it because it was a speed event.
Oh.
And they weren't going to encourage speed events. So it was null there, Mm-hmm. That was that. So that was another experience, another challenge. Yeah.
You're bound to have had a queer day's crack in the car with Richard Young all the same.
Oh, it was surely high. Well, you see, we drove maybe for 2 hours, and I jumped out into the back, and Richard took over, and we drove for another 2 hours. And we were scalping on, I can tell you, and over some wee roads, over mountains and stuff. It was as good as in a rally,
Brilliant. I keep laughing at you when you said about fancying a single seater. You'll laugh at this one. I would love a run on a single seater myself, but I would need 2 that are very equally matched, because I would need one for the left leg and one for the right leg to be able to get into
it. You might get out there and start doing a bit of walking and what have you.
Oh, don't start. You're sounding too hard. Oh dear. Well, you'll be glad to know this is the last question for you. And this is what I'm interested to hear. Alan, you've been a great sport, and you sat here tonight and did an interview, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, I must admit. So, who would you like to see interviewed next?
Well, this name has come up from several times there as Jerry McGarty.
Jerry McGarty, right.
Yeah. Well, but there's another man, a couple of people I could suggest.
Right.
Who has a lot of experience way back in rallying long before, and was one of my idols when road rallies was going. Mervyn Johnson.
Right, okay.
Mervyn would have a lot of stories. And you get 2 for the price of 1 there, because his son's now out doing the sprints, that car. So you might get 2 there,
Alan, you're definitely a mind reader when it comes to these things. I have a list of suggestions. Jerry actually was one that I was intrigued to do as well. I would have liked to do it very shortly. But I'll be honest, I wanted to try this Zoom thing, which I think has been a great success tonight. Hopefully those that are watching will tell me. And I just knew you would be great with the Zoom. So Jerry, if you happen to be watching this, expect a phone call, Jerry. Expect a phone call. Carl will probably be removing me from Facebook as well, I would imagine. So, yeah, expect a phone call, Jerry. Taking things forward, Al, again, I want to thank you again. This has been brilliant. I've had a real good evening's crack sitting listening to you, and I could listen to you all night again because the stories are fabulous. It's brilliant. So I just want to thank you on behalf of myself and on behalf of everybody else for agreeing to take part in this. And also from a personal point of view, for agreeing to be the dummy when it comes to using Zoom. Because I really, really appreciate it. I've had a ball, Alan. I just can't thank you enough. It's been a great night's crack. And I know the number of people that have been watching this and some of the comments have been coming up. I'm not the only one enjoying it. So Alan, just thank you so very much. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said not at all. The pleasure's mine, but listen, thank you, David, for all the hard work you put in. I know Kenny and Tom said it too, and I concur with the sentiments that they said, because you definitely you put a lot of hard work into your job as coordinator.
Well, thank you very much for that, but I do want to add, it's a big team effort. I have Stephen Galt there as my right-hand man, and I don't do anything unless Stephen says yes. We bounce everything off each other. We're very good. Joanne here, God love her, she puts a heck of a lot of work in and puts up with an awful lot of work as well. We have a sprint drivers group as well. Stephen Morris, he does a lot in the background. Johnny McDonald helps me all with press stuff and all that. Graham Curry helps us an awful lot with that as well. With Clive, Catherine Donnelly's an absolute godsend when it comes to the computer stuff and the presentations, especially for the award given. Chris Rogan, it's a real team effort. I'm just the mouthpiece that gets out there and is the public figure, but it's a real team effort. So it's thanks to everybody. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, David, what they said, behind every good man there's a good woman.
Yeah, and she'll be smiling from ear to ear when she hears that. Thank you. Just to finish this off again, I'm going to thank you again. Thank you loads of times. I really enjoyed it. Next week's going to be something slightly different. I have a guest lined up next week that's going to be very entertaining. It's quite ironic, actually, because you started talking about him there, Al. Next week, we're going to have an interview with Richard Young.
Oh, yes.
Now, I know Richard isn't the current sprint driver, and that's what we're aiming to try and focus on. But Richard, as everybody knows, has been a multiple sprint and hill climb champion at many, many levels. Yeah. He's also an organizer as well, who really, without Richard's input, he's a member of the speed committee, and he does all the organising of all the events at Kirkeston. And Richard really is brilliant to talk to. So next Friday night, we're going to have a Pitlane lockdown paddock. I can't even remember. We're going to be interviewing Richard Young next Friday night at 8:30. I know it's slightly different in that he's not a current driver, but he's going to be brilliant to watch and guaranteed to be great crack. I'm a wee bit nervous as to how do you interview someone who is a professional interviewer.
I know you're going to have a hard job, but you're all right.
I think it's going to be amazing crack. So everybody tune in and watch that. Richard's going to be good crack. You, Alan, have left him huge shoes to fill tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute ball. Thank you so very much once again. Yeah. What I'm going to do now, Alan, please bear with me a few seconds. I have 3 different devices here and things to try and turn off. Yes. So bear with me, please, while I do that. So everybody, I'm going to say good night on behalf of myself and Al. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. It's been a ball. Tune in. I'm looking at the wrong place. Tune in, everybody, next Friday night, 8:30 for Richard Young. So just bear with me now while I turn everything off and finalise this. So I do this one first, which